one other thing I wanted to get your take on is if you've seen this this thing that's going viral right now, this news piece that's going, well, it's not really a news piece as much as it is sort of just a viral video of the woman who was fired from Cloudflare.
I did.
And,
I've been seeing the
and she recorded it. Basically, she recorded herself getting laid off, and the video has now gone viral with everybody sort of coming into Monday morning quarterback, as it were. Her, what she did, was it right?
I only saw the headlines. I only sort of know what happens.
So, well, basically what happened was,
lowdown.
I'll give you the lowdown, right? So the lowdown is that that you can Google this. There's plenty of the mainstream news outlets covering this, but a woman by the name of Brittany Pietsch, I'm guessing, or Pietsch, former employee of Cloudflare, and our B2B marketers out there will know and appreciate Cloudflare, where most people don't. Like my wife would have no idea what Cloudflare is, but a lot of us in the marketing technology space know Cloudflare, of course, because it's a big sort of web services sort of provider. Anyway, she was an employee, seemingly in the account services group. So call that sales, call that account management, whatever. And then she's getting fired. And she basically says, look, she got a heads up that a lot of her colleagues were getting 15-minute appointments on their calendar. She gets a 15-minute appointment on her calendar over on Zoom, and realizes that basically there's a wave of layoffs happening. And so she prepares for it by getting her camera set up so that she can record the actual interaction. And she's never met these people before. They're from HR. And of course they do the usual, we're sorry, we have bad news to deliver. And she says, I'm going to stop you right there. And she basically says, look, she starts to justify what she did and how she did it. And, basically, she's just saying that you can't make up that I'm not doing my job, right? You can't say I'm not doing my job when I am doing my job, and my reviews have been good and everything my boss says I've been good. And she records the whole thing and basically still gets fired, right? And
of course, because at that point you're getting fired. Like, if HR is involved, they're not gonna say, "Oh, we'll have a meeting and talk about
this." Is not right. It's not a negotiation, right?
Yeah,
it's not a negotiation.
Done. You're already done.
And basically, the world goes crazy, right? Her video goes completely viral, and sort of dividing down, as we do on social media these days. As we do, it divides right down the middle of people saying, good for you standing up. This is awful. It's basically not a good look for Cloudflare, or honestly, because the other side also chimes in for her, honestly, because it's like, really, you're gonna record that, and that's, what are you doing, and all those sort of. It gets to the point where the CEO actually has to, tweet out, or X out, I don't know what the word is these days, and basically says, look, we fired approximately 40 salespeople over our 1,500 salespeople that we have. That's a normal quarter, they say, basically, and they're sort of doing it. It seems like they're sort of doing the GE thing, where they sort of take the lower performing, layer of employees and basically let it go, and basically making room for more higher performing employees. So it's a normal course of business for many companies, by the way. So, it's an interesting thing because, and the reason I wanted to talk about it maybe on the show is because it brings up a lot of things about, as we create a lot of content as employees, as creators, as marketers, as influencers, as, just in our normal daily lives on social media. And I don't know if this was right or wrong, right? I don't, there is a certain aspect of this to say this is not going to be good for her ultimately in the long term. In the short term, it's interesting because she gets a lot of attention. I suspect she'll probably get a job interview out of this. But in the long term, is this good for her? I don't know, because I'm conflicted on it. So I wanted to get your take on it, I guess.
It's interesting in today's day and age when a lot of people, I don't know how old Brittany is, but she looked like she was Gen Z or close to millennial, young
Yeah.
millennial.
Yeah.
Your entire lives are online. So what's it? I wonder if Brittany even thought about whether this was a good or a bad idea. Now, if Brittany's going to go on and be her own content entrepreneur, content creator, doesn't matter. It
Right.
might actually help from that standpoint. But if she wants to get another corporate job, yeah, it's a tough position to put an employer in. But again, if you are an employer today, I think you have to start expecting this to happen on a regular basis, because you've got people that have their always on lives. I mean, you and I were talking before about the Meta Ray-Ban glasses that finally seem to be cool enough for people to wear. And I've talked to a number of people that got them and love them. Absolutely love it. So I'm like, okay, well, there's something that Meta actually has done that's working. You're gonna have more and more of that happen where they're recording their entire lives.
Yeah.
Right now we do it in bits and pieces on different social media networks. But pretty soon in the future, some people will just turn it on. I was like, I'm on today.
Yeah.
You can get my live
That's
stream,
right.
seeing the movies.
That's right. Yeah.
I think you need to expect that.
Yeah. And then from the corporation standpoint, it's going to change the nature, or has the potential to change the nature of how layoffs are done. Right. Because if I'm in HR, if I'm a leader in comms, for example, the communications group of a larger company, I'm going to take a good, long, hard look at how we're doing those exit, sort of, I guess, informative sort of interviews. I'm not sure, the right word for it, but basically it just may not make sense to do them via Zoom anymore. Right. They're just, with the risk, being that somebody's going to record it and post it to social media and make a thing out of it. It's like, it may not, it's just not worth it.
Playing devil's advocate, I would say, so I was involved in one of these 20 plus years ago when there wasn't technology available.
Oh, sure. I've been involved in multiples of these. Yeah.
And it was there was a meeting that happened. Somebody said this and somebody else said this, and it was one word against another person's word. And there was a lawsuit and a big trial, whatever. If we had a recording of it, none of that would have happened. Either was this person is right, this person is wrong, done. So
well, that's why they always have two people, right? They always
have two people.
Or at least two, right?
At least two. But I think if you just said, we're going to record this, and both sides are aware, it's like, oh, we're going to.
Well, that's a good point.
Recorded.
That's a good point.
And then I think that honestly, from this, maybe you'll see that just everything's recorded, and I think it's more to help the corporation and protect their butts. Well,
that's a great point, because
comes back and says, you said this, or you said I'm too old, or you said I'm too young, or you said I'm not doing this. It's like, no, we didn't. We got the recording right here. So I think that should be standard practice, even in an in-person environment.
It is. I believe for most companies, recording it is a standard practice, because for exactly the reason you just said. But I think the wrinkle that you're adding, which is, if it's recorded, then the company can, if basically it's tit for tat, right? In other words, if they release it, well, they can release it, right? And so,
I think they needed this added protection, so both sides can. I think, I don't know. I mean, did Brittany didn't say that she was recording on her side, did she?
She did not.
Yeah.
No.
See, that would have been. I wish that would have happened. It's like, hey, just so you know, I
believe that's true.
Let
me not. I recall that, but I want to make sure I'm correct on that. I don't believe she did. I don't believe she announced to the people on the call that she was recording.
And I guess the point is that we need to be expecting this in a corporate environment.
Yeah,
that it's being recorded by somebody somewhere, and if it's not today, it will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what the audience thinks. I would love to hear what the audience thinks. When this, obviously comment on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever you listen or watch the show, I'd love to hear your take on this, because I'm truly conflicted on it. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong. Or maybe it's neither. Maybe both can be true, right? It's both right and wrong. Maybe it's just maybe it's just a personal choice in what is, right.